So far, we have seen that Siya was avoiding Manav. Because of this, Manav was very angry. That night, when Siya came to the kitchen to drink water, Manav suddenly appeared in front of her and started asking her questions. Why are you ignoring me like this? Why are you avoiding coming in front of me? Is this all because of what happened between us? Did my touch, my closeness feel so bad to you that you are not even coming in front of me now? Siya had no answers to so many questions from Manav, but she knew one thing very well, and that was that she did not feel any bad feelings about Manav coming close or touching her. It was just a strange feeling that was arising within her, of which she was unaware. She had never felt such a feeling before. Manav, taking her face in his hands and forcing her to look into his eyes, says, "Darling, I need an answer." To which Siya, bringing a slight hint of politics, says, "There's nothing like what you are thinking. I was just studying. Nothing else." Manav, holding her face lightly, says, "Lie. All right, from today, I will neither come close to you nor touch you." Saying this, he abruptly lets go of Siya and starts to walk away. He had just taken a step forward when suddenly his steps stop. Turning back, he looks at his hand, which Siya was holding, and she was looking at him. Manav stood there silently, without saying anything. Siya holds his hand and slowly begins to speak. "Grumpy, it's not like what you think, and I don't feel uncomfortable with your touch or closeness or anything else. I myself don't understand what is happening to me. What is this feeling? What is it? I can't comprehend. After all that, I didn't even have the courage to come in front of you, to look into your eyes. I was feeling very restless. I didn't know how to face you. That's why Manav flies towards her and, placing his hand on her waist, pulls her towards him. But looking into her eyes, he says, "Are you telling the truth? Or are you just saying this to say something? Look me in the eyes and answer." To which Siya, looking into his eyes, bravely says, "I am speaking the truth. I have seen a lot in life. I have seen loved ones turn into strangers. I have heard, endured, and seen a lot. I have tolerated everything in the hope that one day I will surely receive the love that is rightfully mine. But that never happened. Everyone crushed my hope for a better path with the passing of time. Every moment, I was made to feel that I am a very weak, crazy person who will never have anyone of their own, nor a family, because I am not worthy of it. For the family for which I left everything, my identity, which I had earned through years of hard work and day and night labor, I gave everything, for whom they never looked at me as their own, let alone, I don't think they ever understood me as a human being, but you, until now. We have seen that Siya was ignoring a human. This made the human very angry, and when he questioned her about it, Siya tried to evade his words. The human did not like this at all. Therefore, he angrily started to walk away. Seeing this, Siya quickly stepped forward and stopped him. The human's advancing steps were halted by Siya grabbing his hand. He was looking at her with his red eyes, devoid of any emotions, which made Siya a little scared. But gathering her courage, she began to speak her mind to him. Then, with her head bowed, she said, "You are misunderstanding. I was deliberately ignoring you because I was feeling very strange." It felt like butterflies were flying in my stomach. My heart was racing, loudly. Whenever I close my eyes, I remember you coming close, touching me, and I swear it didn't feel bad, it didn't feel disgusting. I don't know what the feeling is, why it is, I just can't understand that. That's why I was avoiding coming in front of you. The human suddenly pulls her closer with a jerk. Holding her waist with one hand, he brushes the hair from her face behind her ear with the other hand. Looking into her eyes, he says, at this moment there was something different in my voice, a passion, a madness. Her eyes also seemed deep. He was looking at her for a minute. He brings her closer and starts gazing at her face intently. Siya is initially taken aback by the human coming so close, but quickly, out of shyness, she lowers her eyes. Seeing this, a small, mysterious smile appears on the human's face. Then, looking at Siya, he says, "This was the last time. If you even think of doing something like this next time, remember, the punishment will be the same. You understand, right? After today, never ignore me again, or it won't be good for you, because I absolutely dislike being ignored, especially by you." To his question, Siya, gathering a bit of courage, looks into his eyes and says, "And why is that?" At her question, the human's eyes deepen even more, and he continues to look into her eyes. "Do you want an answer?" Before Siya could say anything, she suddenly feels the human's large, rough hands on her cheek, gently caressing her face, and his thumb was again circling around the edge of her cheek. Seeing and feeling this, Siya suddenly starts to feel restless. The same sealing feeling begins to arise inside her, which had come from being close to the human in the study room. Her heartbeat began to quicken, so much so that the human could clearly hear it. The human's face was slowly coming closer to hers, so close that she could feel his warm breath on her face. Their breaths were mingling, and Siya could feel it clearly. The human's gaze was solely on Siya's face. What was it? Her red lips, which she was repeatedly wetting with her tongue. That rapid heartbeat of hers, which the human was comfortably hearing. The restlessness appearing on her face was also attracting him. The human gently places his thumb on her cheek, starting to caress it. And with his nose, as he does this on her face, Siya begins to get goosebumps. She starts feeling very restless. Something inside her begins to stir. The human, in a slightly slow but cold voice, says, "You know, darling, when do I get the most angry? When someone disrespects me and makes me angry. And today you have done both, haven't you?" To which Siya, with fear in her eyes, just slightly nods her head. Seeing this, the corners of the human's lips lift slightly. Then he continues, "Now that you have made so many mistakes, you should receive a punishment, right?" As he says this, his gaze is solely on Siya. Hearing the word punishment, Siya suddenly exclaims, "What kind of punishment?" She could barely say that when her eyes widen and her grip on the human's shirt tightens, as the human has placed his cold, rough lips on her small, thin, soft rose petal-like lips. He wasn't moving much. He just pressed his lips against hers and was gradually applying light pressure on her lips. Then, slowly, he began to plant small kisses on her lips. With his actions, Sia's body shivered, but the human had now completely lost control. Gradually, he took Sia's lips into his mouth and began to kiss them slowly. Meanwhile, Siya stood like a statue. Her eyes were still wide, and she was staring at the human intently. The human was kissing her upper lip, then her lower lip, filling them with his lips. But when he saw her reaction, he covered her eyes with one hand, and slowly pulling away, he said, "Just feel it. And if you don't like it, then push me away at that moment." Saying this, he once again pressed his lips against Sia's lips. And this time, he wasn't doing it normally. He wasn't just touching her lips. This time, he was kissing Siya with full passion. Gradually, he placed both his hands on Sia's waist and began to kiss her. Hearing the human's words, feeling his touch and this closeness, Siya began to feel a little dizzy. This was a very different sensation for her, as combining her past life and this life. This was her first kiss. Poor thing had no idea about this, nor did she have any experience. But without thinking much, she was listening to the human. The seductive smell coming from the human's body was attracting her, and she too began to enjoy that feeling. Even though she didn't know how to kiss, she still stood there without saying or doing anything, allowing the human to do what he wanted.